जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। अनंत कोटि वैष्णविंद की जय। रामचंद्र दास ठाकुर जी की जय। श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I welcome you all to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call for today's mid-morning session. Thank you all so much for joining. Today, this is Shivani from Ashburn, Virginia. Let us move to the next part of the session. Today's class will be given by His Grace Haridas Varya Prabhuji on the topic of the sacred vow of Margasirsha, session 33. May I know what I'm joined this morning?
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Jai Shri Prabhupada, this is Preeti Vilasini Devidasi from Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you for a warm welcoming, Mataji, and thank you, dear Vardhana Mataji, for the very beautiful recitation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. Preeti Vilasini Mataji, thank you for giving me this opportunity to serve you all. All glories to your services, Mataji. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Welcome to the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dalvat Pranam, Glory to Srila Prabhupada. This is Neetu from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna Nidhu Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Thank you for joining and giving a wonderful session this morning. Welcome to the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Shivani Mataji, Dandot pranams to you, Dandot pranams to all devotees here. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Sumi from Chennai.
Hare Krishna Sumi Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Thank you so much for joining, Mataji, on a regular basis. All the way from India. Welcome to the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Anybody else who would like to introduce themselves?
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. This is Nikunja Vilasini Mataji from Bloomington, Illinois.
Hare Krishna Nivasini Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Thank you for joining and giving a wonderful association this morning, Mataji. Welcome to the call. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I welcome you all once again to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call for today's mid-morning session. I would like to start by sharing a quote by Shri Prabhupada ji. Chant Hare Krishna as many times as possible and be liberated. Thank you very much. Vrindavan, November 14th, 1976. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Today we are very fortunate to have His Grace Haridas Varya Prabhuji to enlighten us on the sacred vow of Margashish, session 33. Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. Haridas Varya Prabhuji, thank you for giving us your valuable time and association this morning. Very happy to have you on the call after such a long break and waiting eagerly to hear from you. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Please take over the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you for the warm welcome. I welcome each and everyone after this long break of Kartik Vrata. We continue our journey to the sacred vow of Margasirsha. As the Margasirsha month is just around the corner, So it becomes a perfect way to end these series of talks and also meditate upon these pastimes, which we have been discussing for more than 34 sessions now. So I welcome each and everyone once again. Before we start today's class, I would like to offer my Mangalacharan and beg for mercy from the Acharyas so that we are able to understand these subject matters more deeply. ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभयेव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरं। हरि ओं तत्सत्। नीलातुङ्गस्तनगिरितटी सुप्तमुद्बोध्य कृष्णं पारार्थ्यं स्वं श्रुतिशिरसा सिद्धमध्यापयन्ति सोचिष्टायां सजि निगलितं या भलाकृत्य भुङ्क्ते गोदा तस्यै नम इदमिदं भूय एवास्तु भूयः। I welcome all the audience to this August assembly where we are discussing about Tirupavai, which is rendered by Andal, or she is known popularly in the northern part of India as Goda Devi. We all know this pastime. We have been repeating it for the last many sessions. But still, as a quick recap, we all understand that this pastime is happening in Srivilliputtur, a tinsel village in southern part of India, where Andal appeared. And though she appeared, she heard from her father all the glories and Srimad Bhagavatam and all the pastimes that Krishna had enacted with the Vraja Gopis. Her entire character, her entire behavior transformed on that hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from her father. And she also aspired to be like a Vraja Gopi. And with that mood and intention of a Gopi, she also wanted to follow in the footsteps of the Vraja Gopikas. Like the Katyayani Vrata was performed in the month of Margasirsha, she also wanted to take a ritual. What is that ritual? That ritual is none other than following in the footsteps of the gopis. She wanted to take a divine bath in the waters of Yamuna. With that as an intent was this beautiful literature which we have as Tirupavai. So she gathered all her friends and convinced them that during the month of Margasirsha, it is such a great month. Krishna likes it personally. He has said that of all the months, this is one of the greatest months. This is also the Mangalarti for the Devatas. And hence, this time, this month is the morning hours for the Devatas. Hence, it is very auspicious. And she convinced all her 5 lakh gopis to undertake this ritual. With this vrata, with this vow, that of Margasirsha, that they will all go to Yamuna river and take a bath. So we have seen that this work of Andal has got 30 verses. And in these 30 verses, she has divided her 30 verses into many windows. You can divide it in either way. You can divide it into 5 parts of 6 verses each, or you can divide it into 6 parts of 5 verses each. 5 6 are 30 or 6 5 are 30. So in that way, you can divide the verses. Popular ones is to divide it by 6 windows, 6 different categories. In the first window, which is verse number 1 to verse number 5, she requests all the gopis to gather together and perform this vow. From the second window, which is verse number 6 to verse number 10, she wakes up the 5 principal gopis, her friends who are fast asleep and who are enamored in Krishna's pastimes. In the third window, between 11th verse and 15th verse, she wakes up the next 5 gopis. So put together, she wakes up 10 different gopis to take part in this vow who are fast asleep. In the fourth window, we see 16th verse to 20th verse, where all of them, along with 5 lakh gopis, they walk towards Nanda's Bhavan, Nanda's house. They wake up the gatekeeper, they wake up the doorkeeper, they wake up Nanda Maharaj, they wake up Yashoda, they wake up Balaram. They try to wake up Krishna, but he does not wake up. And finally, they wake up Nappinai or Nila Devi. Then in the fifth window, we see that they approach, along with Nappinai, they approach Krishna, they wake up Krishna, and Krishna successfully wakes up. And hence, from verse number 21 to 25, Krishna is requested to wake up, and he is requested to walk through the assembly and sit on the throne. And finally, now they are going to converse face to face with Krishna. And today, Krishna is going to start asking questions, and also very happy to see these beautiful 5 lakh gopis in and around them. So last time where we stopped was verse number 25. Today we continue with verse number 26. So before we go into the verse itself, I would like all of you devotees to just visualize the scenario of this verse. Krishna is seated on the throne. It is called Simhasan, a very magnificent throne. And Krishna is opening his eyes wide. In the 21st verse, he was sleepy. He did not open his lotus eyes fully. But now he has opened his eyes completely, and he is looking at the blissful faces of each and every gopi who is surrounding the throne at the assembly hall. He is looking at Andal, he is looking at Nappinai, he is looking at all the gopis who are surrounded him, and with eager eyes, they are all drinking the nectar of the beauty of Krishna. More than that, Krishna is observing the gopis and the beauty of their gopis, their eyes, their way they have dressed, and the eagerness in them. All of this, he is watching them carefully. And while he is completely enamored looking at the gopis and looking at their love for him, that they have all woken up early in the morning, got up, and they have walked all the way. And after so many trials and tribulations, they have woken Krishna up. He's wondering, why are they here? Now, one might say, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He resides in everybody's heart. Are you saying, Prabhuji, that Krishna does not know what Andal and the 5 lakh gopis want? No, Krishna knows. But sometimes Krishna would like to hear from his devotees so that the love increases. So here Krishna is going to ask a question to the gopis. And looking at all of them, he is asking Andal. Sorry, can people be on mute? Hare Krishna. Yes. So here first, Krishna is asking the gopis that, can you tell me the reason why you have all assembled here? Now, this is very strange. And this would have broken the hearts of the gopis. The gopis are with full expectation that Krishna knows why they are here. But still, and asking this question to them, they don't feel ashamed to answer because they've got the full permission of the elders to be here. And they say to Krishna that, Krishna, we are here to take you along with us for our morning vow of Margasirsha, which is to take the ritualistic bath in the Yamuna river. And Krishna says, why? Why are you here? Because you are supposed to be our security guard. Not only security guard, you are the one who is supposed to provide us all the prerequisites for the vow. Now Krishna is asking, prerequisites for the vow? And the gopis say, yes, we need so many articles. We need so much of paraphernalia for us to perform this vrata at the banks of river Yamuna. So the elders have said, you will provide all of those. Krishna says, wait a second. You all walked into my bedroom. You all knocked on the door, woke me up. I have just woken up. And then you say, we need you. And then you also say that you need all paraphernalia. This is all news to me. This is all fresh news to me. Nobody told me, nobody intimated me about all these things. But now Krishna is going to be very clever. He doesn't want to disappoint the gopis. At the same time, he wants to showcase how great is the gopis' love towards him. So Krishna asks a magic question. Krishna asks a wonderful question. And what is that question? He says, my dear gopis, first and foremost in the verse number 25, you mentioned all the glories about me, how I came to Vraja from Mathura, how Vasudev carried me. You mentioned all of that, and how Yashoda took care of me, and Damodar pastime, and everything you mentioned. You glorified me, and you mentioned that we are here to attain you, Krishna. This was mentioned in verse 25. But in verse 26 today, you are going to say that we want many materials to do our vow. So please tell me, have you all come here inside the bedroom, inside the assembly hall to obtain me or obtain the paraphernalia for the vow? Generally, people who want to attain the Lord keep only Lord as the motive. But the way you all are speaking to me, it seems you want me and also some things along with that. This doesn't go well with the Vedic principle. This doesn't go well with the Nyaya of spirituality. It is like saying, we want to attain the kingdom of God. We want to go back home, back to Godhead. And when Krishna asks, do you want to come back to me, back home, back to Godhead? We say that yes, but we want to live in this material world as well. And Krishna says that is not possible. It is either or. Either you come back home, back to Godhead, to me. Everybody does not get a bumper chance like Dhruva, that they give the Dhruva planet and then they get the Vaikuntha Loka. It is an exception. So similarly, here Krishna is saying, asking this to the gopis, have you come here to obtain me and me only? Or have you come here for other things? And the gopis unanimously speak out, Krishna, what kind of question is this? We have come here only for you. And then Krishna says, then please tell me why some of you are going to ask me today in verse number 26, some of the paraphernalias that you want. And I heard in the previous verses that you want a drum for which is called as parai. You want a drum as an instrument from me. So if you are only coming here for me, why do you want the drum? Generally, those who aspire for me have no other wish. So what is your intention for asking for the drum? So please tell me. So Andal says, look, we are completely renounced. We are not doing these rituals or vows for ourselves. We are doing it to be more closer to you, Krishna. Renunciation means we have renunciated the cause for doing it for ourselves. We have done all these vows only to see your lotus face. And there is one more reason. We are doing this vow as a gratitude towards our elders. Our elders have permitted this. Our elders have given this permission to do this vow. And hence, as a gratitude towards them, we are performing this vow. And as a gratitude towards the elders, we are following in their footsteps. And hence, we are here. Our only motive is not for us, but the only motive is to see your lotus face, by which you also get pleased by looking at your devotees. This is why we are doing this vow. Krishna immediately asks, if that is so, what is this vow? What is the authority? What are the prerequisites? Give me full details. I have not heard about this. This seems like a new vow which has been manufactured. Where is the authority for this? Are you girls whimsically following something out of your own imagination? What is the authority? And why do you ask for so many prerequisites? Give me full details. This is the ask from Krishna, to which Andal mentions the verse number 26. Krishna, you ask me what is the vow. You ask me why are we following it and what are the things that we need. So in verse number 26, she is going to mention about the materials, the reason of the vow. Now one might say, who has been ardently listening to this entire lecture right from the start, one would say, Prabhuji, isn't this a repetition? Because in the first 5 verses, she speaks why they are doing this vow, what is the reason, and all of that. But please remember, those were the reasons which were mentioned to the gopis. Now the destination is reached. Krishna is right in front of them, and Krishna is asking this question. So for Krishna, they need to give an answer, and he is asking the very reason for the paraphernalias that they are going to ask. So hence the reasoning might change a little bit, but the core is the same. So let us look at the verse for today. This is verse number 26. From verse number 26, 27, 28, 29. These 4 verses are the very crux of Tirupavai. Now, if you remember, I said it is divided in 6 windows. And out of the 6 windows, each window will have 5 verses. So 5 multiplied by 6 makes it 30. However, I mentioned right now that very important point that I mentioned right now is 4 verses at the end. So that means up to verse number 29. The 30th verse is kept as a Falastuti. Falastuti means what does one get as a benefit of reciting all the 30 verses. So 26, 27, 28, 29 actually forms the 6th window, 4 verses, and the last verse is Andal's Falastuti that she has provided. But what is there in this 26, 27, 28, and 29 verse is also very important for us to understand. 26th verse, all the prerequisites of the rite are of the vow are being mentioned. 27th verse, she will talk about the donations that she needs to receive for this vow. Not monetary. What kind of donation? We'll see it next week. 28th, she says, I need the drum. And she would perform the full surrender to Krishna. And in 29th, she will give the inner meaning of the drum that she is asking for, or the musical instrument that she is asking for. In this way, 26 to 29 will form the very crux of Krishna in Vrindavan. And this is also very important because till now, all the glorifications were happening between devotees. Now, the last 4 verses are going to be a straight conversation with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The rasa is becoming sweeter and sweeter and sweeter. In fact, there is a verse glorifying about Tirupavai, where it says that any person who does not know Tirupavai's 5 into 5, 25 verses, and the 5 verses put together, which makes 30 verses. Any person, I will repeat, it says, any person who does not know 5 into 5, 25 verses, plus the 5 verses, which makes 30 verses, any person who does not know this 30 verses or its meaning, then the earth is taking care of them as a burden. Their weight on this Mother Earth is a burden, is what the verse says. In other words, every living entity, every human should know these 30 verses. If we are not understanding the meaning of these 30 verses or these 30 verses, the earth considers us as a burden on her, is the verse mentioning. What is more beautiful is to understand that why this separatist mentality of this 5 into 5 plus 5 is mentioned. Why can't the poet mention anyone who does not know the 30 verses is a burden on Mother Earth? He could have said it like that. But he says anyone who does not understand the 5 into 5, 25 verses and the 5 verses. The reasons acharyas provide is to say that the first 25 verses speaks about the greatness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But now we are in Vrindavan, where greatness and Aishwarya takes a backseat. The last 5 verses speaks about his simplicity. Without those greatness, him as Brajendra Nandan, as Krishna, as Govinda. So that is why the Acharya mentions anybody who understands the 25 but does not understand the last 5, it is useless. Anybody understands the 5 but does not understand the 25, that is also useless. So a person has to understand Krishna holistically, which is to say the first 25 verses speaks about his greatness. How does it speak about his greatness? In verse number 1, it's to verse number 25, it speaks about his various greatness, which we will see. But now the question in front of Andal is, what prerequisites you want for this vow? Please tell me. So she says the verse which is as before, and we will see how this verse onwards, it is unique identification of Krishna in Vrindavan. Male Manivanna Margai Neeraduvan Melayir Shevangal Venduvana Kettiel Nalattayelam Nadangamural Vana Palanna Vannattam Panchajanyame Polvanna Sanganal Poipadu Udayanave Shalap Perumparaye Pallan Dishappare Kola Velake Kodiye Vidaname Alin Ilayai Arulelo Rembavai. So a very beautiful verse where she mentions, in fact, our acharyas or the acharyas of the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya have given countless amounts of pages explaining only meaning for these 2 words. Male Manivanna, it says. What does Male means? Male means one who has excessive, exceeding fondness towards his devotees. Aham Bhakta Paradinaha. Krishna has got this fondness, or he loves his devotees so much that Andal says, you ask this question to us, why we have come here? We have come here because you love us. Not because we want to see you. More than our interest to see Krishna, Krishna has interest to see his devotees. More than our desire to see Krishna, Krishna has intense desire towards the living entities who are coming to see him. So every day, Mangalarti, when we attend, we are thinking that we are going and seeing Krishna. But it is also right that Krishna is also seeing us. Srila Prabhupada established this very nicely. And in fact, there are photographs of how, when the deities are installed, Srila Prabhupada is watching those deities, Krishna Balaram, Radha Landanishwar, Radha Parasishwar. These deities, we have photos where Srila Prabhupada is looking at the deities in a very intense fashion, and sometimes tears are rolling down his eyes. One of the most beautiful act is, of course, going and watching the deities in the temple. But more sweeter than that is to watch the pure devotees watching the Lord. In fact, that when we see Srila Prabhupada, Acharyas, etc., standing in front of the deities, weeping, having emotions, and loving the deities and their aspect, watching that is more pleasurable. In fact, it tells us a very clear method of how to approach the deities. It's very important. And that is why this time when I went to Jagannath Puri, you can go inside Jagannath Puri and you can see the divine lordships in many places. But it is very special to stand at the same place where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stood, and his 3 fingerprints are there, and he allowed that old woman to get a better darshan. So this gives us an understanding that Mahaprabhu also is gaining pleasure of seeing how other devotees see the Lord. In fact, it is one of the greatest pleasures of giving Krishna to others, giving Krishna to those who have never seen Krishna before, to absolutely new devotees, giving Krishna to them. It's most pleasurable. And here, the first word is Male. Male means you, Krishna, who have exceeding fondness for your devotees. So, Male Manivanna. Manivanna means money, means jewel or ratna or sapphire. So, Manivanna means you have the brightness and innate nature of a sapphire. Indra Neela Mani Sanni Dhapa Maga Chandra Surya Prabha Aprameyava Jagadananda Karaka. It goes the song. Indra Neela Mani, just like a blue sapphire, is so beautiful to look at. You are the blue sapphire of Vrindavan in Nanda's courtyard. So Male Manivanna means you who are very fond of your devotees, and you who have the brightness and the innate nature of a sapphire, Margai Neeraduvan. We have come here with an intent of taking a Margasirsha bath. What bath? Bath in the rivers of Yamuna. So now here, the bath being mentioned is not a physical bath alone. The bath which is mentioned here is to talk about coming together in front of Krishna, the union. And by seeing Krishna, Anandham Buddhivardhanam, the entire blissful experience that we get by seeing your lotus face, it is as if taking a full spiritual bath in the experience of Krishna consciousness. So they are talking about the bath of meeting with Krishna and enjoying his personal features and his lotus face. So why are you here? To take bath in Margasirsha during the month of Margasirsha, which means I am here to actually see you, Krishna. And why are we here to see you? Because you like to see us. This is the first line that it mentions. And we are here only by your capacity. And we are here to ask for some materials by which we can complete our vow. And then immediately Krishna says, where is the authority? Who has mentioned that these prerequisites are required, and what are the prerequisites? So she gives the first answer. Where is the authority? She says that this bath of Margasirsha was performed by our ancestors, and this was performed by our elders. This was performed by various learned religious personalities who are coming in our kula, by various Brajvasis. So please don't ask us which page of Shastra where this is mentioned. Sometimes there are certain things which we cannot find in Shastra, but our elders follow it, Acharyas follow it, so we follow it. So hence, we are following in the footsteps of our ancestors. And our ancestors have utilized these materials for their vow. Krishna says, okay, accepted that this is following in the footsteps of the acharyas and the religious personalities. What are your things that you need? She says, and she lists down the articles one by one. Palanna vannatta un panchajanyame. She says, I want, if you are interested to give us, please give a clear attention, Krishna. We want these particular requirements. First, we want lot of conch shells. Conch shells? Yes, not one conch, not two conch. Every gopi needs to have a conch in her hand. How should be the conch? The conch should not look alike like Panchajanya. Panchajanya is the conch that Krishna you have in your hand. But we don't want the lookalikes. We want the exact Panchajanya, because there is no other conch like the Panchajanya. So we want Panchajanya as a conch in each and every hand of the gopis. This is our first requirement. Second requirement is that Panchajanya don't give us different colors. The color should be white in nature, because the whiteness of Panchajanya establishes the Sattva Guna, which will rise when it is heard by everyone. So Sattva Guna has to rise in the heart of the devotees when they hear this Panchajanya, the transcendental. At the same time, this conch should be in such a way that when it is blown, all the asuras, all the negative energies, all the negative personalities, all the demoniac personalities, their heart should break. And this is what Krishna did in Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, in the first chapter, when Krishna blew the conch shell along with Arjuna, Hridayam Vidarayat, says Vyasdev. Hridayam Vidarayat. What happened? All Duryodhana and others, their hearts sunk. It got broken into pieces. So this is the effect. Panchajanya nourishes the devotees, and at the same time, it destroys all the evil desires in the heart of demoniac men. So first, Andal says, our first prerequisite for this vow is we want that Pal Vannat Un Panchajanya Me. She uses the word me to say we want exact, not look-alike, but we want the exact Panchajanya, which is white in color. And we don't want one. Polvanna Sangangal. We want many, many conches. Each gopi has to have one conch in her hand. Okay. What else do you need? Then she says that for doing Nam Sankirtan, we want many, many devotees to sing along with us. So we want many devotees to be with us who has to sing along with us. So we need devotees. Then what else do you need? She says we want the drum, the parai, Sala Perum Parai. And don't give us a small, tiny drum which nobody can hear. Give us large scale nagadas, the big drums. It seems that in the Yadava community, whenever there were festivals, these big drums will be utilized by the kings and the royal darbar to send the messages far and wide. So the gopis are asking for big drums. We want big drums by which when we hit them, it will amplify the sound wide, because our Sankirtan is not only for this small city or a village, it is for the entire 14 planetary systems. Let everybody hear this Naam Sankirtan. Let everybody hear the holy name. Naam bina kichu, nahi ko aro 14 bhuvana maje, udilo aruna purava bhage, says Bhaktivinoda Thakur. That this holy name is the only thing which is there in all the 14 worlds. There is nothing greater than this holy name. So Andal says, give me big drums. Don't give me small drums. Give me big drums. And give me devotees who can sing. And give me conchals. Okay, you need this, you need that. What else do you need? She says, I also want flags and festoons. Why do you need flags? So that people know it is Andal's troop which is doing this Sankirtan, and we are doing bhajan, we are doing Sankirtan, we are doing Kirtan of Krishna's name. So these flags will be very clear for people to be attracted. And these flags will be utilized when we flutter them. And people will know there is a Sankirtan party going and we should be joining them. So flags are important. Give us flags. Okay, what else do you need? She says, I need lamps. Lamps? Why do you need lamps? She says, I want big lamps so that whenever it is dark, when they see the lamp, we would like to see your lotus face because you are going to come along with us. And if it is dark, we can't see your face. Of course, you are radiant by yourself, but still we would like to look at the beauty of your face. So we don't want to lose you in the darkness. You are already dark in color, but we don't want to lose you in the darkness. So we like to use these lamps to see your lotus face. So we want lamps to see your lotus face. We have taken so much trials and tribulations to come and see you. Okay, what else do you need? The fourth requirement that I have is flags, and the fifth requirement that I have is a shamiana on the top. Vidhaname, that means I need a cloth covering, I need shelter. Why do you need shelter? Krishna, don't you know this is Vrindavan? And during winters, the dew will form. And while we are taking bath, the dew will fall on us. We will catch a cold. So we want a proper shelter, a shamiana, a pandal under which we can do our ritual very nicely. So you have to provide for a shamiana. You have to provide for a pandal. You have to provide for a shelter, a tent under which we can do our bhajan. So we need all these things. We need conchals. We need drums. We need lamps. We need flags. And we need the shamiana. We need these five. We need these five things. And we need the devotees to sing. We need these six things. This is what we have. So she says, please give us an ear. We want the conchs which are resembling your Panchajanya, which is white as milk in color and capable of producing a sound that makes the earth quake and the evil intentions of demoniac personalities get dissolved. We want broad-sized drums used for drumming. We want bands of devotees to sing in benediction. We don't want those devotees who cannot sing. We want them to sing in very nice melodies. We want them to sing because they should relish. When they sing, they should not just sing for singing it in a raga. They should sing it in a way that they absolutely relish the lyrics and they enjoy their singing. So we want good devotees who are there to sing. And we want auspicious lamps and wick stands. We want flag staffs. We want awnings or we want shamianas. And hence, please do us favor with all these requisites. And Krishna is saying, Baapre, so many things you want. Nobody gave me a heads up that I am supposed to wake up and give you all these things. Why do you think that I would give all these things to you? And Andal says in a very beautiful way that you are Male Manivanna. You are Male because you love the devotees so much that whatever we ask to reach to you, we are interested to reach you, but more than that, you are interested to take us back home, back to Godhead. You are interested to interact with us. You are interested to see who has come to my doorstep today. It is very wonderful to see. That is why in the first verse to the 25th verse, she uses various names for Krishna. But in the 26th verse onwards, she becomes personal and talks about the Vajendra Nandan. In the first verse, she calls him as Narayana. In the second verse, she calls him as Paraman. That means one who is great. Third verse, she calls him as Uttaman, one who is Uttam, that one who is the greatest. Fourth, she calls him as Mudalvan, that the person who is the primeval. Fifth verse, she calls him Mayan, one who is mystical. Sixth one, she calls him one who rides on Garuda. Seventh, she calls him Keshava. Eighth, she calls him the Lord of all the demigods. Ninth verse, she calls him one who resides in Vaikuntha. 10th verse, she calls him as Narayana. 11th verse, she calls him one who has the same color as the blackish clouds. 12th verse, she calls him as one who is very enamoring to the heart. 13th one, she calls him as Lord Rama. 14th verse, she calls as one who broke even the one who uses the conch and the discs as Lord Narayan. 15th, she calls him as the mystic again. 16th, she calls as him as the mystic sapphire blue emerald of Vrindavan. 17th, she calls him as Vaman Dev who broke the layers. 18th, she calls him as the brother-in-law because Napinna is woken up. 19th, she calls him as the broad-chested one because Napinna is sleeping on her broad chest. 20th, she calls him as the one who gives services to all. 21, she calls him as a beautiful flower. 22nd, she calls him as the person unto whose lotus feet all the kings are coming and falling at his lotus feet. 23, she calls him as Lord Narsingha. 24, she calls him as the little baby who broke the Shakatasura. 25th, she says, you are one of our own. And 25th, she says, one of your own. 26th, she says, now you are our Krishna. So hence in the 25, you see the greatness being mentioned. And in the 26th onwards, she is not mentioning about the greatness. She is talking about the simplicity of Krishna's pastimes, where he is ready to get bound, where he is ready to walk behind the devotees, where he is ready to be subjugated by the gopis, where he is ready to become the Duta of the Pandavas, where he is ready to even carry the slippers of Nanda Baba on his head. The simplicity of Krishna is being glorified in the last 3-4 verses. In fact, the gopis are mentioning again and again that you are Manivanna. Manivanna means you are a sapphire like blue. Seeing great devotees take darshan of the Lord, they relish this beautiful sapphire. In fact, Krishna can be compared as a jewel or a sapphire in many, many ways. The acharyas give a very wonderful comparison. So you see, if you have a jewel in your hand, if you get a jewel, a very precious jewel, let's say like a Kohinoor, if you get that in your hand, till that day, you would have been having a very fine sleep. But the minute the riches come to you, you will be in anxiety and you will lose sleep. So in other words, it is mentioned Krishna is like the jewel. The day Krishna consciousness is completely capturing our heart, the sleep like ignorance is completely gone. The sleep goes away. Ignorance goes away. So when Krishna is there in the heart, the ignorance goes away. Just like when the jewel comes, the sleep goes away. So it is just to say when Krishna comes, the ignorance goes away. Ignorance is considered as sleep. Now the jewel is also compared to Krishna, or the sapphire is compared. When you get a sapphire, not everybody knows what is a sapphire, what is a blue stone. The sapphire is only known by the jewelers. Only they know how many cuts are there, how much radiance, how much luminosity is there in the jewel. So only the jewelers know the jewel very nicely. Similarly, Krishna is like that jewel. Only the pure devotees know how to relish him. Where is the jewel found? The jewel is found in sea, it is found in forests, it is found in mountains. Sometimes you have to cut the mountains. Where is Krishna found? He is found in the milk ocean, in the sea. He is found in the forest like Vrindavan, Ahobilam, etc. And he is found in the mountains like the Himalayas, Ahobilam, Simhachalam, etc. So just like the jewel is found in the sea, forest, and the mountains, Krishna is also found in sea, forest, and mountains. If a jewel comes to you, you automatically become great. We see some of the empires of the past just have one jewel and they claim themselves as the British Empire. We have the Kohinoor, the entire empire becomes great. Similarly, if anybody gets Krishna, their entire kula, the Sattvika or the Sattva Guna of that kula or that person becomes so high that he himself or she herself gets all the fame. So having the jewel itself gives the fame, hence it's also compared to a jewel. But recently I was in Puri and I was walking by the beach, because beach is also considered as one of the Tirtha Kshetra, Maha Tirtha Kshetra, says Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And on the beach, there were some sellers who were selling some pearls. And I was looking at these pearls and they were selling it for cheap. And I asked them, do you have a real pearl? I would like to make a difference. And one of the sellers took out a real pearl, and that looked very different. It was lackluster. But this polished artificial pearl was looking very, very shiny. So a person who is not expert in purchasing jewels or pearls will get easily scammed. So you need an expert broker. You need a middleman who is very capable of understanding what is a jewel, what is a stone, to make the difference between both of them. Similarly, to understand the real jewel, who is Krishna, we need Guru. We need a broker in between. We need a Guru who will help us understand the real jewel, the sapphire of Vrindavan. Hence, in this way, jewel can be compared in many ways to none other than Krishna. There are more comparisons. Every jewel is very, very beautiful only if it has a good radiance. If it doesn't have a good radiance, then it is very difficult to understand that that jewel is very authentic or bona fide in nature. Similarly, the radiance is none other than Srimati Radharani. Or in this case, if you want to say from the Sri Vaishnava perspective, they consider as Lakshmi or Nappinai. So if the jewel is Krishna, the radiance is the Sri, Lakshmi, or in our case, we consider her as Radharani. So Radha Krishna, when we approach them together, then the jewel is really beautiful to look at. When the jewel is lost, when the money is lost, when the precious stone is lost, people become disappointed. They cry. Similarly, when Krishna is lost, when he is not an object of our vision, devotees cry. And the jewel is very much important. And it is very much important to understand that what is a jewel, what is a stone. If people don't have proper understanding, they will just walk away, ignore it. Or sometimes people will take a jewel and keep it in their house as a paperweight. Or they will utilize it as something for some meager activities. They will not understand the true potential of the jewel. Similarly is Krishna. Krishna is a jewel. Sometimes people don't understand his potential. Sometimes people think that he has come none other than a mere human. Some materialists approach him for material benefits, but pure devotees know that why they approach him. So sometimes a jewel is totally misunderstood to be a simple rock and ignored. Similarly, Krishna says, Avajananti Mahamudaha. Many people misunderstand me and they ignore me. They do not know the full potential. So, Andal mentioning him as Mani Vanna in the second verse, Acharyas are giving 10 or 15 reasons how Krishna can be compared as the jewel. And what are the characteristics of the sapphire or the jewel that if we do not understand? So, this is the depth of Andal's writings. And when Krishna hears this, Krishna is so happy. And he says, you have made the request of the conch shells. I will give you conch shells. Andal says, wait, remember, you have to give the white conch shell exactly which is Panchajanya. Krishna says, done. And Krishna says, I am going to give you now. Hold it. I am going to give this Panchajanya conch to you, which will give tremors in the heart of the ruffians, which will nourish the devotees. It will be white in color and it will be large, that when you sound it, people will know that you are doing Nam Sankirtan. She is very happy. And he gives a lot of other grade conches, which are exactly like Panchajanya to each gopi, and each gopi has a conch shell in her hand. Now comes the drum. Now, where will Krishna bring the drum? The drum, of course, is symbolic to mention, but she will explain this in the 29th verse. But where shall Krishna get the drum? Krishna has married Jambavati, and Jambavati is the daughter of Jambavan. And we see in Srimad Bhagavatam that when Vaman Dev appeared, Jambavan took a big drum and announced the lotus feet coming across the three worlds. So this came in Dahej, this came in Dowry. So Krishna gave the first drum, which is Jambavan's drum, the age-old big drum which Jambavan used, gave it to Andal. Then Andal says, one drum will not do. My Sankirtan is going to be a big Sankirtan, roaring Sankirtan. So I need another drum. So Krishna says, when Ravana was about to be killed, all the Vanaras, they went beating around the drums in the battlefield. So I'll give you that drum also. Gopis say 2 drums will not do for 5 lakh people. We need more drums. Krishna says, okay, during the water sports when we did, and the Ras Leela when we did, there were a lot of drums used. So we will give one of those drums. So in this way, he gives 3 drums to Andal, and she is now satisfied that the second prerequisite is met. What about devotees who can sing? She says, the Sri Vaishnavas mentioned Periyalvar and Nammalvar as the 2 candidates whom they ask for because they are most beautiful to sing the glories of the Lord. What about the lamp? Andal says the best lamp for us to see your lotus face is through Nappinai, because she is the one who opened the door. So the radiance, the lamp is none other than Nappinai. So we have already got that prerequisites. She is standing next to her and helping us recite these verses and showing us the path how to attain you. What about the flag? Krishna says that the best flag is Garuda. So he gives the flag of Garuda to Andal. What about the Vidhan, which is none other than the shelter, the tent? The best shelter is Adishesh. Andal says, no. Don't give me Adishesh, because in the Sankirtan party, when they see a multi-hooded snake, everybody will get disturbed. So instead of that, you give your Pitambar dhoti. Your Pitambar Vastra will become the tent on top. And hence, we will use it as a Shamiyana. We will use it as the Pandal. So the conch is given, the 3 drums are given, the lamp Nappinna is given, devotees are given, and at the same time, all these Pandals are given. Andal is super happy. Now she says, we are going to perform the Sankirtan, for which we need a Dakshina. What is that Dakshina going to be, and how it is going to be asked? For that, we have to come next week. But this is a beautiful verse where she directly asks for the parai, where she asks for the musical instrument. And in this way, this is asked directly, where she says here, Shalap Perum Paraye. In this place, you see that she is asking for the parai. But what is the deeper meaning of this parai? We will get to know in the upcoming verses. And the most important thing in this is the last 1 minute which we have. You remember Krishna said, this was not intimated to me. You woke me up and you suddenly asked for all these things from me. Where will I get this from? And she says, Alin ilayai arulelo rembavai. And then it says, what are you telling us, Krishna? Aren't you the one who was floating, who was seen by Markandeya Rishi, that you were floating on a banana leaf, on a banyan leaf? Alin ilai, that the simple leaf of a banyan tree, you were floating on it and you were sucking on your toe while the entire cosmic manifestation was getting inundated. So all the cosmic manifestation is none other than in your stomach. And this figurative mention of this banyan tree is very important, because in a small seed of banyan tree is the big tree called banyan. That's why in Bhagavad Gita also, Urdhamulam Madashakham, the banyan tree is mentioned. Similarly, Krishna is so small, but inside him is the entire cosmic manifestation. So if the entire cosmic manifestation can be in your stomach, these 4 or 5 items will be definitely there. Just give it to us. So she's being bold enough to mention Krishna in that 5. And she says, Arulelo Rambavai, hence I make my request. Hence you were there lying down in the fig leaf and in the banyan leaf. So in that way, please give us all these prerequisites. So this is what you can see in the photos also. As we see, this is the leaf. Krishna is there. She makes a reference of it. Can you see the drums being asked, the lamp being asked, the devotees being asked, the flag being asked, the pandal or the shamiana being asked, and the conch shell being asked? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All the 6 items of the prerequisites are mentioned here. Krishna is sitting on the throne. The gopis are in and around them. Okay. What can you see here? Can anyone see and tell me?
All the paraphernalia that Andal has asked for.
Yes. And you see the flag of
The
Garuda,
white conch shell, yeah,
the white
Garuda
conch shell,
flag, the flag dvaja, and the drums, and the
and the
shamiana,
shami. Absolutely.
and the
And
devotees, like everyone dancing and singing.
yes. So in the Sankirtan as well. And you see this beautiful, that it is as if he is lying on Ananshesh, but it is actually the leaf. So this is also true, that whatever weapon Krishna uses, it's an expansion of Sudarshan. Whatever thing he lies down on is also expansion of Adishesh. So the leaf also is an expansion. This as well. Who is this personality who is on the elephant? It is none other than Periyalvar, who is singing Palland, let there be all glories, let there be all glories unto you. Her own father, who is the devotee who is singing. Here he gives the vastra or the shamiana. Here he is giving the drum. Krishna is himself giving the drum, the panchajanya, the lamp in one hand, and Garuda as the flag. So Keshav has shown this very nicely. And what is these footsteps mentioning? There is a footsteps down below. What does that say? Anybody can guess? Of course, the leaf and Krishna sucking the toe is very clear. But what is these footsteps?
Footsteps of the devotees, Prabhuji?
Devotees. But mostly it is talking about we are following in the footsteps of our ancestors. What is the authority? She says that we are following in, as our ancestors has performed this vow, we are performing. So we are doing that. And Yamuna is also behind. Same representations in various different ways. You can see the pastimes. which is being represented. You see all the paraphernalias which are used as if Periyalvar is himself there because she asked for somebody to sing. And how do we know? Because he is collecting tulsis in his box to worship the Lord. There is a lamp, there is a flag, there is a drum, there is a conch, and at the same time there is devotees to sing. All the 6 things are here. The same is being showcased here in various different forms. Thank you very much. So today we covered the 26th. In the next 3 weeks, we will come. In the next 4 weeks, we will try to complete the last 4 verses, where we are moving towards the climax, where we are moving towards to understand the reason of Parai and why she asks her so. So in this way, we will try to cover in the next 4 weeks. Hopefully, in the month of Margasirsha itself, we will bring to a glorious completion of these 30 verses of Margasirsha. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. If there are any questions, comments, clarifications, critiques, feedbacks, we can discuss. Yadatra skalitam kinchit vidvam satpurayantu tat yadatra saushtubam kinchit tad guror evame nahi. Hare Krishna.
Jai. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for such nice class. It was refreshing again. You have recapped everything about like the first 25 verses where Andal was praising about the achievements and wilderness and how God has like eliminated the miscreants and how all those things and his various names. Some of them I noted like Narayana, Paraman, Uttaman, Model1, Mayan, Vaikuntavasi, and the one who is holding couch and desk, and some I missed, Keshava and Vamana, Narsimha, Rama, and all. And then you mentioned like the way you explained like why Andal went to when Andal went to Krishna and finally she woke up him and she was asking Krishna asked like why I have come here, what's the reason, and she's asking for those paraphernalia. So he's telling you want me and also paraphernalia, why you want the paraphernalia too. Then she explains and what is and what do you want to do with it. Then she tells like what all paraphernalia she wants, like the conch shell, the devotees, the lamp, and the shamiana, and something I'm missing.
The flag.
The flag. So and she explains like what is the importance of each of it, and you explained it very nicely, Prabhuji. And in this 26th verse, she is mainly explaining about the simplicity of Krishna, and that's what. Thank you, Prabhuji. This is all like I could recollect like whatever you are told, and thanks a lot.
You recollected most of it. Thank you so much for summarizing. Hare Krishna.
Thanks a lot. And this indicates the Sankirtan movement also, Prabhuji, totally.
Yes.
Like Andal is totally bringing up the Sankirtan movement and connecting us with Lord Chaitanya.
Yes. We have, yes, very much, very true. Yes.
Yeah. Dear devotees, please go ahead with your realizations or any questions for Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Dandavat pranam, Prabhuji. Go ahead, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, you mentioned the point that Andal is asking for devotees who are expert in singing. Like singing is compulsory, Prabhu, like verses. That caught me actually.
Yeah, we have to sing. In fact, singing for the singing is absolutely necessary. When we actually recite the prayers, Kata Ganam Natyam Gamanam Pamshi Priya Sakhi. Kata Ganam. Ganam means to sing. Kata is there to listen, but when we have to express, we have to become expert poets. That is the gold standard, because when we sing, the emotions, the ragas, etc., expertly, we have to learn that art by which we can expertly connect ourselves in a prayerful mood towards Krishna. We don't need to be very much focused on being a commercial singer. We should be a devotional singer. We can sing in our own way. We might not be classically trained, but if we can get an opportunity to train, we should train and we should sing for Krishna. Our heart should sing for Krishna. But Andal here is saying that we need expert singers so that the Sankirtan is perfect. So when you go on Sankirtan, you will give the mic to the expert singer so that all the souls who are listening to it, they get attracted. So that way, she's asking for singers.
Yes, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yes,
Pranam, Prabhu,
Hare Krishna.
Okay. I was a burden on the earth and because of hearing, but I also want others, right, not to be burdened on earth. So is there any literature or any book or, in English or Hindi where I can, spread this to others like that? Is there any, you can give us any reference?
Yeah, there are many books actually,
okay.
which mention these 30 verses, small, big, mostly in the Sri Vaishnava authors and Sampradayas who write about this.
Okay.
And the Tirupati Devasthanams, the TTDs, have got a very good book written by a gentleman known as Sita Murthy. And it gives a lot of very wonderful Vaishnavite explanations. I can maybe share it with you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Maybe Prabhuji has disconnected something.
Okay.
Yeah. Dear devotees, anyone who has any realizations or questions, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the very, very nice class. Prabhu, it was so beautiful, especially when you went through each of the gifts that Andal was asking and how it was sanctioned. It was interesting to know that the drums came from Jambavan during the time of marriage. I thought so beautifully every single item was connected. So thank you so much for the very fantastic class, Prabhuji. Looking forward to the remaining verses also. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Anybody else?
Prabhuji, I also like one point that you were mentioning, right? Like, it's good that we give Krishna to someone who don't know Krishna. We need to introduce them to Krishna. So that point it really means a lot, Prabhuji. But a few people, like in our community, they might not be they might not be belonging to same religion. So how to approach them, or whether we need to go and tell them anything about this?
Yeah, very nice question, actually. In fact, as a community, we should be aiming at three things. One is outreach, one is maintain, and those who have gone away due to certain bad experiences, bringing them back. So sometimes as a community, we are very focused on outreach alone, reaching to new devotees. But however, to maintain and to take care of them is also very, very important. As the organization becomes larger in nature, sometimes expansion is seen as the primary motive. But as tenured devotees, we have to take care of maintaining as well. So from an outreach perspective, if there are from other faith, it is good. We can reach them. We can give them prasad. We can tell them to come participate in some of our events if they are favorable. Otherwise, it's okay. If they are favorable and they are loving their religion and their faith and they are on their path, that is fine. We don't need to disturb them quite a bit. But if they are favorable, we should give them prasad, invitation, from a sheer intent that we are sharing the goodness with others. But we should be more interested in, there are so many like-minded souls within our own faith whom we can connect. And if they have connected, there is so much of blood to be spent to maintain them. This is very important in the organization, that more than outreach, we need to maintain good, healthy practice where we teach them to chant good japa, where we teach them shastras very nicely, Reaching 100 people versus taking one soul back home, back to Godhead. The second motive of taking one soul back home, back to Godhead is much greater than reaching 100. So it is very important that we nurture
Yes,
the devotees.
The
yeah,
whole
totally. Like I totally understand it, Prabhuji. Thanks a lot, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Thank you. Hare
Haribol
Krishna.
Prabhu, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Especially in Bhakti Sangha, we see only the second one is being more fulfilled. That is, the existing devotees just continue to exist.
Right.
But I mean, like our outreach has been like very, very meager compared to maintenance.
Correct.
But I mean, I know there is so much emphasis on outreach and we have to improve on it. But one thing that you really said now, I thought is very important, which is to bring back people whom we have lost because of some
Yeah.
situation. It can be anything, right?
Yeah.
So that is so important because at the end of the day, that is meaning the personal touch is what they're looking for rather than all these different classes or whatever that we have to offer. So thank you for giving us that reminder, Prabhuji. It means a lot. Sometimes we tend to focus only on two things. One is outreach and second is maintenance, but we forget the people who have gone away. So
Right.
thank you for that. Yeah, thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Mataji. And I think it's very, very, very wonderful that Bhakti Sangha Japa group exists to keep nourishing the root again and again. It's not necessary that every initiative under the organization or under the community needs to have all three enabled. There can be certain initiatives which is only to nourish and only to cultivate, only to maintain, and further enhance the curiosity and the inclination towards shastras to understand and to nourish our bhakti. So I think Bhakti Sangha Japa group is very much aimed towards that. And it is absolutely okay that if we have only 3 members also. The reason is, I remember once I went into a class where there were only 2 people, and I asked the speaker, "Are you not very demotivated that you have only 2 audience members?" The person said, "I'm very, very fortunate to have 2 because Krishna had only one audience, who was Arjuna. Rest all were hearing passion passively." So sometimes that's a great perspective. Krishna just spoke to one, and through, of course, Gita was Dugdam Gita Amritam Mahat. But the fact is that sometimes we don't need quantity. What we need is quality. We need to boil the milk very nicely. Yes,
Yes,
Nutan Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandvat
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna.
Prabhuji, I think it is Krishna's mercy only and grace only that I could hear to this class today, because 26 to 30, you gave this distribution of 25 plus 5 plus 5. So it was that place onwards when I started hearing this. And I really feel the starting 25 I have not yet heard. I was inspired after listening to this class to read to this Tirupavai. And I also would like, so Prabhuji earlier asked about the book to be shared. Even I would like to read it, Prabhuji. And
Yeah.
and the last 5, if we do not understand, all the previous ones, whichever we read, are going to be of no use, as I understood. I'm really excited for the next
No.
verses.
So the last 5 will explain the simplicity. The first 25 will explain the greatness. So the first
Yes, Prabhu.
25 explains the devotees and their inclination, who are important to understand the last 5. So nevertheless, wherever you eat the sugar cane, it is sweet. Whether you bite it in the front, in the middle, or in the end, it is sweet. But it is more
Yes,
relishable when we have the sweetness as a whole sugar cane. Yeah.
yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, there is one question which I would like to ask. Here,
Yes.
Andal, this is a conversation between a devotee and the Lord Himself. So
Hmm.
she is asking the Lord or telling the Lord what her demands are and all. But Prabhupada says that God is not our servant. We cannot order him whatever we want. You just not go to him just for your material details. You do this for me, you do that for me, give it to me, give that to me. But today, when I was listening about the paraphernalia and all, Andal, though she's asking for the Sankirtan to go on only, but is it not like a demand, or is it okay if we ask God for such benedictions to be showered on us?
So this is the same question that Krishna asks. Why you need all these prerequisites and why are you asking it to me? And the simple answer she gives is that I am asking this as a vow to be performed because my ancestors have asked it to you. So the ancestors, we are following in the footsteps of the ancestors. So she is not asking it whimsically, she is asking in the footsteps of the ancestors how they have performed. And if you listen to the first lecture mentions how the elders provide the sanction that Krishna will become the security guard and he will provide you all these requirements. So, based on the inclination shown by the elders and the direction shown by the elders, they have reached here. So, the elders have said, Krishna will give it to you, and they'll give. Second reason is Nappinai, the Nila Devi is herself standing along with these 5 lakh gopis there, and she is saying, ask it to Krishna. So, again, they are following the order of Nappinai. The third reason is they are in Vrindavan, where these laws do not apply of God and devotee. In Vrindavan, sometimes the gopis say that Krishna, you dance if you want to get this ball of butter, and Krishna dances. So this feeling of God versus devotee does not really get exhibited in Vrindavan, which is the last 5 verses. I hope I could answer the 3 dimensions.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Are they geographically in Vrindavan, or is this conversation we have to imagine is going on?
No, geographically, as I said, that they were in Srivilliputtur, which is a southern part of Tinsel town in Tamil Nadu. However, because of their mood and because of their entire interest of Andal, she has become like a gopi, and that entire surrounding of Srivilliputtur has become non-different from Vrindavan because of that intense devotion that she carries and the intense devotion of the gopis. So, because they are following in the footsteps of the gopis, the place has transformed itself into Vrindavan. Her way of talking, her way of forming verses, the way of her character, the way of her interactions with Krishna have all become like the gopis because she is constantly meditating upon the gopis of Vrindavan. So, yes, the place is non different from Vrindavan, though she originated and where this happened was Srivilliputtur.
Yes, thank you very much, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, one more point I would like to add. When Nandal was asking for the paraphernalia, that time she asks for devotees who can sing beautifully.
Yes.
So at that very moment, I felt, oh God, mera to kuch kaam hi nahi raha. I'm totally useless, I felt. But then again, you mentioned the point that those who can recite it with while understanding the meaning of the song, of the bhajan that we are singing, that is more required. And it is usually seen, though the singer, even if they don't have very beautiful voice, when they are taking Lord's name, it becomes so relishable, Prabhuji. I have enjoyed it multiple times when we are in the temple or when we are doing Sankirtan. It is really pleasing to the ears. We never say, okay, इनकी वजह से बुरा लग रहा है, but because we are doing it as a group and we are calling out to someone who is very attractive, and that atmosphere totally becomes very nice, Prabhuji. Yeah, devotional as well as though it is not in harmony, it sounds to be a melody.
Exactly. And that is how, even if you see Srila Prabhupada singing, initially Srila Prabhupada is not a very trained, very high classical singer like the commercial singers, but it is a pure devotee singing. Sometimes when you come back home, you might hear so many different melodies, so many different, but a simple Prabhupada's Krishna, Kirtana, Ganana, the entire Sadgoswami Ashtak brings you back to complete devotional sphere. The reason is purity. The reason is devotion. The reason is love towards Krishna in the heart. That moves hearts. That brings tears. Artistic performances, artistic gymnastics might be good to hear for the ears, but it will not bring tears. What we need is tears when we hear these pleas of the acharyas, which are sung very nicely, devotionally from the heart.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And also the point where you mentioned about the flag for his Pitambar she had asked, that was very nice. And I could understand why we carry the Mahamantra flags when we are, or else our temple flags when we are going for Sankirtan. Thank you very, very much for this
Thank you.
nectarian lecture. Thanks a lot,
Thank
Prabhuji.
you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
There are some glorifications about the class, Prabhuji, and everyone is thanking for the beautiful class.
All glories to Prabhupada. Thank you very much, Mataji. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prabhuji, and my Dandvat pranams. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you for giving your valuable time and association, and for enlightening us on this topic of the Margasirsha, on this Margasirsha Mass by Andal, and I would like to pay the obeisances, Prabhuji. So, dear
Yeah.
devotees, let us pay our obeisances. Vacha kalpata robhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitana pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha.
Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda
Jai.
ki Jai.
Ki
Bhakti
jai,
Siddhar
Srila
Prabhu.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Yes, Grace Haridas Varya Prabhuji ki jai.
Jai Srila
Jai.
Prabhupada.
Jai.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dandvat pranams. Thank you very much.